So welcome to everybody listening. Here at the Hearth with Kristin and Eileen, and we're going to have a little conversation amongst the three of us about the blueprint. And I have really been wanting so much to talk about the role of the blueprint in healing earliest layers of experience. And so people often ask, well, what is the blueprint? And I asked that a lot too when I first was learning about what is the blueprint. But it's really a state of health in the body that's always there. And so I thought we would start with just for people coming and for the three of us to talk about what is the blueprint and then how can it be used to employ to help with earliest layers of experience in healing imprints. And then really it's a pathway toward healing that is an evolution of pre and perinatal work, in my opinion. And it's really being pioneered by Anna Chitty through the Colorado School of Energy Studies. So I want to honor her and also just have a conversation about our understanding of what is the blueprint.
Thanks, Kate. I can say something here. Um, for me, as I'm starting this conversation, uh, one of the things that I've come to, I was educated in the West. I grew up using Western medicine. When I started getting interested in psychology, um, the approaches that I went to were more of a Western approach. And there is a lot of emphasis on disease and what isn't working, what is not healthy, and then fighting that disease. And as I became more deeply involved in really studying holistic modalities for myself and then eventually in my work, I had a great teacher who said to me, keep your eye on health. See the illness, see the problems here in the periphery, but whatever we put our attention to grows. So just stay with the health. And that's one of the things I really appreciate about the pre and perinatal somatics is we start with intentions for health. So there are all sorts of challenges that we can focus on. But what is it that we want for ourselves that's different, that's healthy? And I find that when I work with myself and others, when we give space to just forming an intention, there are so many things that I wouldn't have ever thought about of just like, what is it that I want to grow? What is it that I want to get to? What is it that I want to be healthy and different? And there's some kind of space that opens up for me to grow into.
I'm just sitting with what you're sharing, Eileen. I can feel it sort of reverberate through the field. I love the question, Kate. There's like, what is the blueprint? We're hearing it more and more in all kinds of places. And what exactly is it? And, it makes me think of, I don't know if this is where it comes from, but with, architecture, you have this blueprint it's blue print on paper, right? And
True.
so, but there's something about how there's this, I don't know if structure is the right word, but there's this like design that is there before any formation, any form, any structure is actually created. And so I think when I think about the blueprint, I think about what's like underneath, what's like underlying what is being expressed. And it makes me remember Ray, who would often say, like, okay, if we can gear shift down, or if we can go underneath what is seemingly present right now. And then I like Anna's word of, and bring curiosity to that.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's something that with what I do and what actually is expressing, that's coming from somewhere. And can I pause and give enough space to be curious about what that is? And what you were saying, Eileen, is just like, and look for the health in that.
Mm-hmm.
Look at, oh, this may be here because it's trying to create something or express something or show me something that maybe I don't want to look at, but it's still trying to show it in some way. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I'm going off on a tangent a little bit, but I think for me, what the blueprint is really about how do we make space to look at and discover something that is underneath what is showing itself, and see the health in it, the intelligence in it.
Yeah, exactly. And it has sensation. You can feel it in the body. So if you slow down enough and you can evoke it, that's what we do when we work the blueprint resonance, which is Anna Chitty's work, but probably like any coherent building work, like heart math or other somatic trauma resolution works, like how do you use sensory awareness in the body? You can feel the blueprint is there. And if there's been a lot of trauma or a lot of layers of experience that are overwhelming, that we call imprints, it's harder to feel, but you can evoke it. Like I remember when I was first learning from Anna, I think this was like 10 or 11 years ago. What is the blueprint? Well, it could be something so simple as walking in nature or feeling a positive state like gratitude, or feeling something pleasurable that you're connected with, a relationship that you cherish. What could be any kind of relationship, not just with a human, but with an animal or a piece of land, and what happens in your body. And so really slowing down and feeling that is part of understanding what is the blueprint. And when I work with Jim File, for example, he calls it the deep pulse. You know, you can feel it. It's alive. It's dynamic on the inside. And it's beautiful. And where I think it comes from is it comes from the work of Randolph Stone and perhaps the indigenous peoples around the world that connect with these early layers of our development, our energetic anatomy. I know in my presentations, I talk about it as the torus, which is this energetic design in our body that where it has slowing down and feeling what is in the middle, but also at the edges. And I show that anatomy and have people feel it in a way. But you can feel a blueprint state by just orienting to something positive or supportive or even just okay in your life and noticing what happens in your body. At least that's what I do in my work.
I think one of the key words you use, Kate, is coherence.
Mm-hmm.
And, there's something about it's, I mean, I might say that it's not just in the body, it's in the field.
Mm-hmm.
And how do we connect to that? And a lot of times we can associate blueprint with pleasurable experiences, but it's also in every response we have as well, in which we sometimes name as imprints, but mm-hmm. there is blueprint in how we respond to threat and like move away and constrict. There's health in being able to do that in terms of how it helps us survive something.
Mhm.
And I think sometimes we lose that when we talk about imprints, that we lose that. Like, how do we appreciate, wow, this is what I did to navigate this environment?
Mhm. Hmm. Makes me take a deep breath when you say that, Kristin. It's
Yeah.
a wonderfully powerful, positive way of looking at our lives. And all that we do, and for me in pre-perinatal work, is bring consciousness and then just really connect to, what needs to be what needs to be released. Because imprints will create that fixed state in the body. And I like how Emma says it's the blueprint that binds up with the imprint. And if you can find those places in us and use the practitioner skills to relieve that sort of fixed state, then the blueprint comes in naturally, and then something deeper and more true about you can be known.
Can we pause just there? Something, what did you just say? Something deeper and truer can be known.
Mhm.
I like
As I'm listening to you two, I'm really appreciating the emphasis on feeling the body and feeling the field. For me, actually, feeling the body and feeling the field are part of the same experience,
Mhm.
my experience in the present moment, which includes all the layers of me, subtle and gross. And for me, when I work with clients and also with myself, um, a conversation or and focus on the imprint can happen for a moment, but then I remind people that the reason why we're doing this exploration, the reason why we're exploring um, the implicit somatic memories, or sometimes we call it our young wounded self. There are different names that we give to this, to the wounding. The reason why we're getting to know these sensations and feelings as they arise from our history is kind of to know what we are not. So those imprints, getting to know them, it's just self-understanding. It's knowing that these are the things that arise from my history. It's not who I am. It's not happening right now. It's just a memory that is coming from some history. And there's something about relaxing and getting to know those parts of ourselves and feeling safe as we're feeling those, that then allows more space for us to recognize the goodness as it arises, or as we direct ourselves to goodness, we can go, oh, that really did happen. I know what that feels like. Hello, old friend.
Mhm.
And then we can start to also perceive resource and health and blueprint as it arises.
Oh, it's always there. And so,
Yeah.
yeah. And the blueprint, like you said, Kristin, like it's something that's underneath. And it's connected to our energy anatomy, but also our body, our physiology, our cells, our two sides of the body, and the front, back, left, right, inside, outside. That kind of pendulation is what the body's meant to do and can do. And our job is just to open the way and encourage it. And that's what the training is when you go to learn how to work with the blueprint and understand facilitation. But the blueprint's always there. And that's what I love about learning about it, is that learning how to access it and then having people just feel it through their body and sensation, whether it's around them or in them or both.
Nice pause.
Yeah. Mm. And so when we're working more with the blueprint, it's just as practitioner, you just get to know what that is inside yourself. And that's the way into working with it in your work. And the more you can become familiar with it in yourself and access that, the greater your access to the health and your greater access to working with it in someone else. I once asked Anna, how can I increase the blueprint in clients? She said, believe it in yourself. So as practitioners, we're hoping here at the Hearth to bring you into more practices so you can deepen into your own blueprint and work with clients in a deeper way. And then have that essential quality of who we are as humans really rise. Because that's what's there at the earliest layers, and what happens to us as our baby self, because that's who babies are. And so really coming into that essence of us that's there underneath these earliest trauma layers and having that integrate is really what the pre-perinatal work is about. And from my perspective, wanting to work right away with families so that these layers can be sorted. And sometimes for whole families, it can take a while because you're working with adults and working with whole family systems. But when you see a baby and their delight and their love and their capacity for connection, you see our essence is there.
It feels like it could be a good place to complete.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we hope to have more for you here at the Hearth, more practices and more people coming to talk about the work, and also more access to trainings and workshops so that you can become more access more inside yourself, this blueprint, and then bring it into your work with clients, families, and with babies.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.